Hello students, today we will continue with lesson 8 of history, civilizing the native, educating the nation. And today's topic will be the agenda for a national education and efforts of Indian nationals towards development of education. Britishers were not the only people thinking about education in India. From the early 19th century, many thinkers from different parts of India began to talk of the need for a wider spread of education. Impressed with the developments in Europe, some Indians felt that Western education would help modernize India. They urged the British to open more schools, colleges, and universities and spend more money on education. But soon, the high-spirited and educated intellectuals began to challenge the European system of education. They pointed out to the inadequacies of the system and took upon themselves the task of development of education based on nationalism. Raja Ram Mohan Roy and Rabindranath Tagore were the main pioneers of educational reform in India. Mahatma Gandhi and Rabindranath Tagore reacted against Western education in India. Mahatma Gandhi was against the westernization of Indian education. According to him, Indians were becoming the slaves of Western education, thought and culture. They neglected the rich Indian culture and traditions. He advocated Nai Talim, that's the basic education program that combined crafts, art, health and education. He strongly felt that Indian languages ought to be the medium of teaching. Education in English crippled Indians, distanced them from their own social surroundings, and made them strangers in their own lands. Speaking a foreign language or a foreign tongue, despising local culture, the English educated did not know how to relate with the masses. So Mahatma Gandhi was totally against the westernization of Indian education system. He strongly felt that if anything taught to the people of India in their own language would be having far-reaching effects, and that the rich Indian art, language, culture, science should not be avoided. That should be the main task of all the nationals, to teach Indians in their own language about their rich past and culture. So Western education, according to Mahatma Gandhi, focused on reading and writing rather than oral knowledge. It valued textbooks rather than lived experience and practical knowledge. He argued that education ought to develop a person's mind and soul. Literacy or simply learning to read and write by itself did not count as education according to Mahatma Gandhi. People had to work with their hands, learn a craft and know how different things operated. This would develop their mind and their capacity to understand. So when we study about the Indian national movement, you will see that he insisted on Swadeshi, on people learning the art of how to spin a charkha, and he wanted all the Indians to become independent and not dependent upon the Britishers. Similarly, Rabindranath Tagore, he was of the view that creative learning could be encouraged only within a natural environment. So he chose to set up his school 100 kilometers away from Calcutta in a rural setting. He saw it as an abode of peace, that is Shanti Niketan, where living in harmony with nature, children could cultivate their natural creativity. In many senses, Tagore and Mahatma Gandhi thought about education in similar ways. There were, however, differences too. Gandhiji was highly critical of Western civilization and its worship of machines and technology, whereas Tagore wanted to combine elements of modern Western civilization with what he saw as the best within Indian tradition. So he emphasized the need to teach science and technology at Shanti Niketan along with art, music and dance. So you can see picture of Shanti Niketan, how people sit and discuss and learn about various things in the natural surroundings, almost like it was during the Gurukul period. So Shanti Niketan attracted scholars from all over the world and finally developed into the world famous University of Vishwa Bharati in 1918. During the first quarter of the 20th century, Indian nationalist leaders formed a National Council of Education to make out a strategy for imparting education to all sections of the country. Under this strategy, a number of national schools, colleges and universities were set up. So these were all national colleges, national schools set up to promote a nationalist approach in education. By early 19th century, the study of modern science was introduced in India and students were asked to adopt a modern outlook and pursue the study of higher sciences. Now we'll see the main features of the policies of National Council of Education. It gave emphasis on easy learning by imparting education in vernacular languages, meaning the local language spoken at a particular place. English language was set up as a compulsory second language. Technical education was to be provided up to 5th standard. Physical and natural sciences, arts, culture and humanism were also to be taught. There was provision for research and higher studies in ancient Indian history, philosophy, economics, arts and sciences. So these were the main features of the policies of the National Council of Education. Now we'll study about the contribution of the leading reformers in the field of education. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was very well acquainted with the Hindu scriptures, the Vedas and the Upanishads. He was a linguist and had studied Sanskrit, Persian, Arabic, English, Latin and Greek. He also had a deep knowledge of Christianity and had written a book entitled The Precepts of Jesus. He was in favor of imparting Western education to the Indians. He wanted them to study mathematics, philosophy, chemistry and astronomy. During the first half of the 19th century, he was the brightest star in the Indian sky. In 1817, he established the Hindu College at Calcutta with David Hare, and then in 1825, he founded the Vedanta College to promote both the Indian learning and Western sciences. Swami Dayanand Saraswati was the founder of the Arya Samaj that sought to revive the ancient glory and religion of the Aryans. He gave the slogan "Back to Vedas." The Arya Samaj was founded in 1875. To promote education, he started a number of Dayanand Anglo-Vedic or the DAV schools in many parts of India. The curriculum of DAVs is a combination of modern and classical Indian studies. For the revival of the Vedic ideas, he founded the Gurukul Pathshala at Haridwar in 1902. Mrs. Annie Besant. She was elected president of the Theosophical Society in 1907. The society was deeply influenced with the Hindu philosophy of karma. It worked for universal brotherhood and humanity. Mrs. Besant laid the foundation of the Central Hindu College at Banaras in 1898. It taught both Hindu religion and Western science. The college turned into Banaras Hindu University in 1916. Pandit Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. He took forward the cause of women's education. He was associated with at least 35 girls' schools in Bengal. He was the principal of the Sanskrit College and devised new approach and methods of teaching Sanskrit. So we see that there were many Indian nationals who were working to revive the Indian culture and philosophy, and also trying to educate Indians in the Western sciences to keep pace with the changing scenario. So with this we come with the end of this chapter. I would like you all to read the chapter thoroughly, at least twice, and then try to find the answers to all the questions given at the back of the chapter. Thank you.